Howdy y'all, welcome back. I'm going to give you an update on our JC refrigeration modification. So in the first video I showed you how I ran the wire for it, and right here is the wire that I ran, and I labeled JC refrigeration. So the guys that installed the modification would know how I wired it, and I went through it with them before they started the installation. I'm down here in our front storage compartment, so I had it all pre-wired. All I had to do was pop the fuse in when they were done, and right here's the fuse. Hang on just a minute. Okay, they put a 30 amp fuse in it, but it's not taking near that much. But all they did was just pop the fuse in it, and then the refrigerator kicked on. So I had it all pre-wired for them, and it's coming off the positive bus bar. That's a 10 gauge wire. Okay, hang on. Okay, you got the wire in there. Left them plenty to hook into the new compressors. Caulk the hole up here and down below. Keep bugs out of there. So this is pretty much done. So now I gotta finish the front in the front storage compartment. You can see here the compressor install. So there's dual compressors. One is for the freezer and the other one's for the fridge. And then here's the cable coming up that I ran, and they just hooked it in. You got to take the whole refrigerator out of the RV. The whole back of the refrigerator comes off, and the whole new back goes on. So this is strictly 12 volts. It doesn't have propane capability anymore. You can see here where they plug the propane line. But you got a little cooling fan here, and then the coils are up in here. I left the covers open so that air can circulate in here and try to keep these compressors cool. But you can see that they've taken the whole back off the refrigerator and replaced it with a new one. And there's the controller right back there. Freezer, refrigerator. A pretty simple installation. They had it done in 3 hours. I mean, like I said, but you got to take the whole refrigerator out of the RV and take the whole back of it off. But there's a slight hum when the compressors are running, both of them. And from what I could gather in measurement with my clamp-on amp meters, it's with both compressors running and the cooling fans running, it's pulling a little bit less than 6 amps. And of course, when it's shut off like it is now, it's not pulling anything. So I'll explain a little bit about how it works when we're plugged into the truck and towing down the road here in just a little bit. Always remember to keep your drain hose outside so that water doesn't drain down here inside. I stuck it out through there so it's permanent. I can always take the cover off when I want to. So let's go inside. Okay, there's the mechanism. It's got, on the inside of the fridge, it's got 2 cooling fans. And then you've got the bottom is the fridge and the upper is the freezer. And the blue numbers there is the set temperature. And the red numbers is what it's actually reading. So for right now, the refrigerator's a little bit high. It's because I got the doors open. It's climbing up, so I'm going to shut the doors here a little bit. But those little cooling fans do a job in circulating the air. In the freezer, now we can keep ice cream in it. I mean, it's rock hard. So let me shut up the refrigerator. So this is our Dometic refrigerator. You can see all the stickers and magnets that Tammy puts on it. We wanted to keep the same size refrigerator, so they don't have to do any modifications to the cabinet above it. And so it's the same Dometic refrigerator we had, but all the guts in the back of it have been replaced. Now you can also take the whole refrigerator out and put in a Dutch air refrigerator. Excuse me. It's a brand new refrigerator, and sometimes they have them in the same size that you have, so they don't have to do any modification to the cabinet. Now this sits on a little platform down there, but if you put a bigger one in it, then you're going to have to do some changes to the cabinets, and we didn't want to do that. And the size of the fridge is okay for us. So we kept the same Dometic fridge, but like I said, you can have them take the whole fridge out and replace it with a new refrigerator from Dutch Air if you want. That's up to you, but I'll explain a little bit more here in a minute. But you can see it, and I've showed you the temperature settings and the compressors outside and how it's wired. Hi guys, you can see Tammy in the background back there. Wave, Tammy. The power draw, best I can figure, even with my clamp on meter, it's with both compressors running, the cooling fans, external and internal running, it's pulling about 6 amps, I believe. Now, when we're towing, I don't want to confuse you here. When we're towing going down the road, of course, we're not hooked to grid power. And so with a refrigerator always running, the truck will put out anywhere from 4 to 6 amps through the 7-way plug on pin 4. And like I said, that refrigerator pulls about 6 amps with everything, with it fully turned on. So going down the road, I can monitor our lithium batteries in the RV, and they're pulling about a negative 1.2 amps out of each one. So if you kind of do the math, 6 amps, the truck can put out 4, and so there's 2 coming out of the batteries going down the highway. Okay, that's kind of the calculation. So, and both batteries are 100 amp hour batteries. So, and we don't ever travel more than 6 hours going down the road, something like that. So the batteries will last a long time until we get to our next campsite and we plug back into grid power and unplug the truck from it. Okay, so once we're at our campsite and we plug back into AC grid power, the converter now takes over. So the converter can put out enough amps. It's a 55 amp converter. It can put out enough amps to keep the batteries charged and run the refrigerator and the lights and whatever else we've got on 12 volts. Okay, so it's a WAFCO 9855 AD, which means it's auto detect. It's supposed to auto detect whether you got lithium batteries in it or not, but it doesn't always work. It'll drop out to float mode, and if it does that, then it'll pull a little more out of the battery sitting here connected to grid power, but not always. So it's something that I've got to deal with maybe going down the future. If the converter goes out, I'll put a better one in it, okay? But normally the converter can keep up with charging the batteries up to 100%, or about 97, 98%. And then it can run the refrigerator, which is 12 volts, the lights, which is 12 volts, the water pump, all that kind of stuff, okay? Okay, now what I could do on the truck when we're towing down the road to keep the batteries from discharging, and like I say, it's only a 2 amps total, so it's not a big deal. But what you can do is install what they call a DC to DC converter. You install it in your truck, and then it can pass more amps directly from the alternator in the truck through a special connector and into the RV. It bypasses the 7-way plug. Now, normally these truck manufacturers, they won't allow, with the software they put in these trucks, they won't allow high amperage through the truck to the RV. They can limit that with their software coming out of the charge circuit. And the wiring in the truck going to the 7-way plug in the bed of the truck isn't big enough to handle high amperage anyway. So that's why they limit it to about 4 to 6 amps, somewhere in that neighborhood. So if you put a DC to DC charger in the truck so that you can charge lithium batteries, high amperage, let's say, then they put much bigger wires in it, much bigger connectors, so that your alternator can directly handle that. Now, the alternator in our truck is a 220 amp alternator, so it's big enough. But that's kind of the gist of the explanation. Hopefully I didn't confuse you, but just to recap, when we're towing down the road, the truck alternator will put out 4 amps, and going down the road with the refrigerator fully running, it'll pull 6 amps. So 2 amps is coming out of the battery. And like I said, we never travel more than 6 hours a day. So, I mean, you're not depleting the batteries that far until you plug back into grid power. And when we do that, normally our converter will recharge the batteries back up to 97, 98%. And run the refrigerator and the lights and pumps or whatever 12 volts we're using at the time, okay? I do have a special lithium battery charger mounted up in the front where the batteries are. So worst case scenario, I can disconnect the converter from the batteries, plug in the lithium only charger. It can recharge the batteries in minutes versus the converter. So I probably confused the heck out of everybody, but if you can follow through with what I was saying, the amp draw is not that much on the new refrigerator. Tammy and I love it. Like I said, we can now keep ice cream in the freezer. It'll freeze it rock hard. It's more consistent, trouble-free, but it's 12 volt only, right? 12 volt DC power only. So the propane capability of the old refrigerator is now gone. Now, if you do a lot of boondocking, and for those of you that are not RV type people, boondocking just means that you have no external connections, no power, no sewer, no water, no nothing. You're just out in the middle of the field, and what you got, you got. And so if you're out boondocking, the refrigerator kicking on, pulling 6 amps out of it, you want to have a fairly good sized battery bank so that you can go several days before you have to recharge. A bunch of these little sweat bees are flying around all over the place. You can put solar panels. You can get a suitcase solar panel. You can put solar panels on the roof of your RV, and they can help charge your batteries as well. But Tammy and I don't do really any boondocking, and we have a generator that we can plug in to power the RV if we need to. So, you know, you got to look at your configuration, how you like to camp, whether you're always plugged into grid power or you like to boondock someplace with no external power, nothing. You can get solar panels to generate your power. You have to have a lot of panels if you want to pull a lot of voltage. You can get inverters. If you have like a residential refrigerator, just like you got in your house, then you're going to have an inverter, which an inverter changes DC power to AC power. A converter changes AC power to DC power, so they're reverse of each other. So if you want to run your coffee pot, you want to run your residential refrigerator, you want to run some AC receptacles off grid, then you're going to need an inverter, okay? And then you can use an external generator to repower your batteries, recharge them. Solar panels, if you've got them, can help recharge on sunny days, that kind of thing. But you got to size everything just right. I mean, otherwise you're not going to generate enough power to keep batteries charged and whatnot. But so you got to look at how you camp. So if you like to boondock, then you're going to need solar panels. You're going to need a bigger battery bank and maybe an inverter. If you like to camp at campgrounds where you're plugged into the AC grid, you don't necessarily need solar panels to help charge your batteries. Like I said, we carry a generator. Tammy and I, it's small enough that Tammy and I can lift it in and out of the back of the truck, and it can run one air conditioner and a bunch of other stuff in the RV. It cannot run both air conditioners, a coffee pot, a hair dryer. It's not big enough for that, right? So you got to be selective of what you've got on when we use our generator. It can only put out about 30 amps, right? And so when your air conditioner kicks on, it'll instantly pull a huge amount of amps until the compressor gets started, and then it'll slowly come down. Now what you can do about that is put in what they call a soft start, so that your compressors on your air conditioning systems in your RV doesn't pull as many amps. It's called a soft start. So there's lots of things you can do to conserve power if you're running off grid. But like I said, Tammy and I do very little boondocking. We have on occasion, but not that much. So we're typically, when we're at a campsite, we're plugged into AC grid power. And for this refrigerator modification that we just went through, which we love, our converter will keep up with it and keep the batteries charged and run all the rest of the 12-volt systems in the RV. So that's kind of a recap of how we camp and how our systems are running. So I hope this was information for it and you can take something away from it. JC Refrigeration, I want to mention this. The JC Refrigeration home office is, I believe it's on County Road 200, and it's just down from where Shipshewana Flea Market is. But that's not where you get your refrigerator modified or fixed or repaired. They have moved it to another facility. Just the installation and modification part of it. It's at RV Adventures, and Aaron runs that. And it's on Highway 5, just a little bit north of Shipshewana. So that's where we had to take our RV. We had it in there at like 8 o'clock. They had it done 3 hours later. They also will install a DC to DC charger. They can put solar panels in. They are an installer of Battleborn batteries. They do lots of things, okay, other than refrigerators. That's why they moved the installation part of it to RV Adventures. But it's just, Aaron works with JC Refrigeration, so.
He's the son.
Huh?
He's the son of the owner.
Yeah, he's the son of the owner. So just to let you know that if you want to get your refrigerator replaced or converted, like we did, you'll need to take it to RV Adventures for you when you got your appointment to get it done. It's a big facility. There's a nice waiting room there. There was another couple there when we were there, getting theirs refrigerator replaced. But like I said, you can put a whole new Dutch air refrigerator in it. Take out what you got and throw it away. Put a whole new one in it. You can even go bigger. Tammy and I didn't want to do that. Our refrigerator size is okay with us. And we didn't want to have to modify our cabinet area where the refrigerator sits to put a bigger one in. So we kept the same refrigerator. They just took the whole guts out of it and replaced it. So it's working great, working fine. Like on days when you go to the grocery store and you buy a whole bunch of groceries and you put them in the refrigerator, it would take it forever to cool back down. Well, now when we go get new groceries and stuff, we fill up the refrigerator, it's back down to the set temperature in minutes. So it's great. It's fantastic. We love it. Okay. Check them out if you're looking or thinking about doing this kind of a thing. Take a look at your systems and how you want to camp and how you want to set it up. So I hope this was information for you as a closure to our conversion to JC Refrigeration. So I'll link this video to the first one I had about putting the wiring in. They can do the wiring for you if you don't want to mess with it. I just went ahead and put it in because I was an electrician, so I saved $100. Okay. So anyway, that's the update. Hope this was good information for you, and you can sort through my ramble and figure out what we did. So, okay, we'll see y'all later. Bye.